Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I'm Ashley Sage. This is my beautiful guest today because we are doing fairy chats, Miss Helen. And
Hello.
this is, I think, episode 10. This is episode
Yeah.
10. I forgot to check. I'm awful. So we took a nice little summer break. We were just rehashing about how summer was awful and, well, not awful, but just very lazy and there was no action, no drive. And it was funny because I was pulling cards before and you were pulling cards before, and we kind of got the exact same thing today. And we were just having a nice laugh about how we have to learn from this as well. Because even though we're doing this fairy test for everybody else, we do it for ourselves. Right?
Yes.
So I pulled the thief, right? Oh, sorry, you can't even see that. The thief, which is he pretty much takes your time. He's a time waster, right? And I pulled a blank card, which is the wild card next to it. So this is like taking back your time. So instead of being in action, it's all about action today. So we're gonna get into it. What were the cards you pulled?
Yeah. So mine were the Singer of the Chalice
Mm-hmm.
and the Soul Shrinker. And essentially, yeah. So the Singer of the Chalice is a great card. It's full of, the all the good stuff in the universe that you can
Mm-hmm.
put in. It all comes through that sort of holy grail shape. And then the Soul Shrinker is he comes. He's not very pretty looking, but he's here because he's saying, you know what, you're talking way too much rubbish about yourself, and
Yeah.
instead of taking this up and actually, as you said, taking the action, because
Yeah.
you can only bring in all these benefits if you actually get out there. If you just sit at home and wish that it will fall in your lap, it's never going to work. And if you're telling yourself that you can't do it all the time, or you're letting someone else tell you can't do it all the time,
Yeah.
then you can't reap the benefits. So it's like, get out there,
Yeah.
use that fairy energy. Don't
Right. Use the universal energy as well, and especially because with fairy cards, it's always good to pull two cards at the same time, just because they talk to each other, right? It's the dual inner energy, right? If I just pulled the thief, this wouldn't really have gotten anywhere with me. Like, he's the thief of time. He makes excuses. This is inaction, right? So then you would kind of feel shitty about yourself if that was it. I'd be like, whoa, okay, all right, I get it, thanks. But with this wild card, and there's a few of them in my deck. I think I have the second edition or the first. I think I have the first and you have the second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's right. Yeah.
So I got a few wild cards in mine. So what it means is like you can do with it whatever you want. That's kind of the clarifier, is like either you can use this energy and like be inactive and like just kind of like lays around and let this lesson kind of be learned, or you can take action and think about it in the dual sense, right? Is this really a hardship, or is this something that's beneficial, right? Because we all tend to think like, oh, the world's ending, right? Like, oh, the nothing's really, and that's how the whole general vibe right now is like, nothing's really working, everything's kind of crappy, like I don't have any motivation, I'll do it tomorrow. And then this kind of comes in and goes, are you really going to wait until tomorrow? Do you want to wait until tomorrow? Is that a good idea? Right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes taking that 10 seconds, right? I call it 10-second timeouts. Everybody kind of makes fun of me as if it's 10 seconds, but it's usually about 5 minutes. But I call it a 10-second timeout, either just to like take time out of my day, just to like think and reassess my day, or take that 10 minutes for something that's just for me, something that I need to kind of focus on, pull some cards for myself, clean the house. I don't have to dedicate a whole day to cleaning my house. I have to dedicate 10 minutes, or 10 minutes to making a video, 10 minutes to editing something, right? Because sometimes if you think, oh my God, it's going to weigh me down, right? It will weigh you down. That's the thief, right? That's the soul shrinker, right? So I thought it was hilarious. We both pulled prior, and then we were like, oh, that's like the same meaning. And it's so funny because we giggle every time. It happens every time.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime we do these fairy chats, this just makes us laugh. It's just, you just get filled with that fairy energy and you just
Yeah.
start giggling and you just don't know it's like, suddenly, and like you were saying, suddenly you feel motivation, suddenly, you feel that little bit of extra push. And as you say, pulling in that universal energy with the fairies, the fairies will help you connect to that other universal energy because they use
Mhm.
it all the time too. And they've all
Mm,
got their own guides and their own setup, so they'll lead you into
yeah,
that. Suddenly you have a completely, they say, if you just take 2 minutes to pull a card for yourself, suddenly the day changes and
Changes.
the
Can change
energy.
the entire the entire vibration. You'd be grumpy for like an hour and be like, take your time. We got to go through the emotions. We're still human. But as
Hmm.
soon as you want to change the vibration, that's up to you. And that's kind of this with the cards that we were pulling, right? It's just a concept of tapping into one fairy energy because it always makes me giggle, right? Always. It never fails, right? And it's
Yeah.
so funny because every time I go on some kind of trip or little travel-y something, I always find some kind of art setup where there's a tree with a tiny little door or a tiny little mailbox, right? There's always like a fairy setup where somebody will send me a picture just in a family group chat or whatever, not nonchalant, be like, look what we found. And I'll be like, the fairy neighborhood, right? Because everybody's just kind of enjoying it. And that's even my personal reminder just to kind of take that extra action instead of just being lazy. We're not in the throes of winter yet. It's not full slug mode. Right? I love full winter, but I feel like just before it starts, and it, like I was saying this morning, it's super cold here this morning. There's frost all over everything. So I'm waiting for the snow to drop. So before the snow drops, I'm reminded personally by this tarot pull that we did to take advantage, take that action, start getting out there, and you don't have to do it for anybody else. You have to do it for yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you're right. Those kind of little reminders just pop up everywhere that, everything's moving. Everything moves through its seasons and its cycles, and so do we. And absolutely, I agree that this past few months has just been,
A drag.
yeah, just it feels like time's taken forever, and it's just been, but the signs are there that other things are working, because more and more people at the moment are, they're being contacted by fairy. I've seen so many people at the minute putting things out there, and they'll say to me, say it in exactly the same way, like, oh look, I saw this and there's a fairy in it, or they'll send me a picture and say, oh my gosh, I saw this. And even just scrolling through my Instagram feed, more and more people are noticing the magic and the
Yeah,
fairies and all these things. So the vibration and things is changing.
it is.
It's
And
just
it's
we need to decide,
slowly.
yeah, and we can tap into that. But sometimes in that cycle, it is that sort of the build up just before it happens tends to be quite lethargic.
For sure. For
You find
sure.
yourself just lulling, and
Yeah.
then all of a sudden it will hit, and suddenly you feel like there's way too much energy, and suddenly
Right, then we don't know what to do with it, right? But
yeah.
yeah, that's part of the thing. So going forward, coming into this week, coming into this month, however it is, the key is just to seize the day, harness the energy, go forth, be merry, and it's up to you, right?
Yep.
Nobody's going to sit here and hold your hand or influence you. We have to make those conscious choices to say, hey, am I going to sit here and be happy that I'm still alive, or am I going to be grumpy that life sucks?
Yeah, and again, why, it's all about that recognition. Why does life suck?
Yeah.
What things can you control? Because I know we
Yep.
can't control everything in our own lives. It's not how
Yeah.
it works, unfortunately. But what can you take control of, and
Yeah.
can you move that forward? As you said, it's all about your choice and what you want to do, and it's it's always a lot easier said than it is done. But
Yep.
if you can just start making those little changes around how you're thinking, or what you're consciously doing, rather than just kind of unconsciously going along with the idea that
Hmm.
you're stuck where you are. It's
Hmm.
like, what can you do? What do you want to do? Where can you move? Where can you change? you know it just, where can you inject more fun?
Fun. Literally, yeah.
Hmm.
Some mystery, some excitement.
Oh, absolutely.
It
Some
always gets me when I pull these cards. Always gets me, and I'm like, wait, that doesn't have a oh right. Doesn't have anything written on it, but it's like you do what we will. Like life is how you make it. Right. How are
Yeah,
you gonna harness this energy? How are you gonna change it? How are you gonna fix it? Yeah.
all intention, always intention. What do you intend consciously? Move towards it, because if you allow the unconscious to keep taking control, you will just get dragged along, and you'll either find yourself in that
Yeah.
constant feeling of, oh my gosh, I'm so lazy, I can't, I'm so unmotivated, and you get stuck in a cycle that you need to shift out of. So it's kind of
Yeah.
like, okay, it's time to get the paddle going.
Love it. I love it. All right, guys, let us know what you think about this video. Let us know how you're getting out of this energy, how you're going to get out of this stinky pond and back into the flow of the river, break out of the system.
Yes. How can you stop? How can you shrink the soul shrinker down and get more of this?
Love it.
Bedness.
Because I'm going to go actually get some sunshine. I'm going to go and enjoy the sun, even though it's frosty as the tip of an iceberg. It was so frosty outside. Oh my God, I can't believe it. But I'm going to go out and enjoy some sunshine because at least the sun's out. Right?
Good to see the sun, definitely.
Right? I love it. All right, guys. It was a pleasure. Thanks for coming back on, Miss Helen. I appreciate it. And we'll see you guys soon.
Thanks for having me. Bye.